I want to talk a little bit today about the growing primacy of ignorance. And the journey toward intelligence and the journey toward knowing. We are watching at this moment in time the power of ignorance taking over our world and society. It has been doing so for a long time, but this is one of those moments where uh, we watch it uh, in its full power. There are layers to ignorance. Some movement toward intelligence, a very rare but occasional movement toward wisdom, knowing. But intelligence is, for many of us, the ladder that we try to climb in life and society to navigate the world around us, to know who we are, where we are, how we fit into things. Ignorance is a kind of not caring or giving up on knowing and intelligence and the idea that there's, in a way, a destination beyond give me, give me, give me, or whatever make, make me happy. Um, the level of ignorance is something I remember watching when I was in elementary school. I've talked about it before. And there were always the kids who didn't get it. And there were the kids who were striving to get it, to put it into context, to understand themselves in historical perspective, to get a sense of the world they had entered, how it came to be, where it was moving, where they could go within that world. And there were kids who just did not get it. They did not get it. So the day they were discussing the Constitution and the First Amendment, Second Amendment, whatever, not there, not showing up, didn't register, didn't lock in. Why do I care about that phenomenon? And that, in many ways, has dominated the evolving nature of our culture. People who weren't showing up, who didn't get it, who don't get it, and who have tossed their power over to others because they don't feel powerful on their own. I don't mean this as a critical talk. It's simply what is, has been, and is part of our culture. The evolving uh, dominance of not knowing in a intellectual sense, lack of perspective, and that has consequence. And a lot of us are experiencing that consequence every day we wake up. And it's becoming more and more dominant. And in a way, the opposite of everything we were trying to understand as students in school, where we were trying to get a picture of the world that we're in, learning how to live in this world, how to use it well, mostly to get ahead. You know, get your diplomas, move up the ladder, get a good job, make some money, have a family, support your family, have a good life, have pleasures, and all of those things which came out of intelligence. Not having those things gave you a lesser, supposedly, life. You wouldn't be able to have all of the stuff that the people who were educated could get, but you had stuff in a way. You had, usually in many societies, kind of enough to live on. Some societies, not true. And in many places, ignorance provided a way, a doorway to poverty and suffering. and then looking for any way out and looking for something that resonated with who you were and discovering it all around you. People who are as unhappy as you were, recognizing their unhappiness as a shared community, if you will, trying to figure out, you know, who expresses their unhappiness as well as you do or more powerfully, looking for people who could promise you a pathway that went through ignorance rather than through intelligence. And in a way, that society has dawned on us, a society that has embraced ignorance, and they wouldn't use that word, of course, uh, but has embraced the not contextualizing your life in any way other than do I have enough to eat? Do I have uh, enough money for fun and pleasure and joy and all that other stuff? And that's a real part of the human journey. We're all trying to get to a place of comfort. But when you have hierarchical societies where you have intelligence and you have ignorance, there's always something that you can't get, something that's more that you want to get and you don't have the skill set for. And so we find ourselves emerging in a culture where those who haven't been able to get are having a louder voice. And so there's an instinct, I think, for people who are really in the intelligence mode to be critical of the people who don't have that. And I would like to say that's probably not helpful, probably not a good path. There are a lot of good-hearted, loving people who do not have intelligence. They have a feeling of goodness, sometimes kindness, sometimes a capacity to help others, and it's quite powerful and beautiful. And I think that those of us who are judging the world from a perspective of uh, intelligence can get lost in that. Intelligence is a doorway to something, but it may not be the doorway to anything that people who have ignorance are able to pass through. And yet, the truth is, intelligence and ignorance are not part of wisdom. They're not part of knowing. They're not part of transcendence, and they're not always a part of true depth of awareness. The doorway to knowing and the doorway to depth, if you will, go beyond the realm of intelligence and ignorance. They go beyond it. They are not part of that world other than that they are rooted in it, but they are a reaching for something greater. And it comes out of something that is not mental, that is not cognitive. It is a direct experience of what brings all of this into being. That awareness, that profound awareness that we can all start to begin to find by sitting still, by asking for help to let go of our intelligence, let go of our ignorance, let us go into a realm of profound compassion, profound opening, and feeling for the totality of the realm of being that has both intelligence and ignorance, defining it on hierarchical levels. The greater level of, I'm sorry to give it predominance, but the greater level of knowing is not intelligence. It goes beyond that. It is direct awareness of, if you will, life and being and existence and the human part of that journey. And we are all on that journey, every one of us. And if you have stepped into the pathway into awakening, into awareness, into knowing, and to wisdom, you will look back on the world around you with a different sensibility than if you are part of the realm of intelligence, let's say, which can be very critical and very threatened by the ignorant elements of life that are starting to have some kind of predominance. So let me try to remind you that even at the lowest level of ignorance, if you will, there are people who are loving and beautiful and kind and wonderful. And at the highest level of intelligence, there are people who are that and not that. It's it's the whole ball game is in the realm of intelligence and ignorance, and then there is the transcendence of that, and that's why we're here now. We are talking about something that carries us into a different state. And that different state is not minus intelligence, it's not minus ignorance, it is beyond that. It is the envelope in which they exist. And if you find your way into that space, what you will come away with is a simplicity of appreciation of the totality of the human journey, from the most ignorant to the most intelligent, and then into the most profound awareness of being that is something that intelligence and ignorance will not show you. Living the horizontal, no matter whether it's the high horizontal or the low horizontal, is not the same as the vertical, going into core being, core being. And core being is the doorway into the space from which you emerged, how you made it into this world. Core being is what we are here to discover. Very few people, as far as I can experience, have discovered it. And discovery isn't necessarily, oh, I got it. I've talked about that before. It's something without an I, without a getting, and without an it. It is just, there you are. And it is the most profound, transcendent opening to truth and being that is imaginable. It is not a static state as far as I can tell. It is oceanic. It is worth everything in the life of a person on this planet, intellectual or ignorant, to discover. You can discover it in ignorance, which is really important. You don't have to know the First Amendment to discover it. You don't have to know that the world came from this historical perspective and that drama and all of, you don't need to know that to find truth. Those are all, in a way, stories. They're all valuable stories. They are all really encompassing. If you have an intellectual perspective, you can really see the world and understand it and grasp it. But what you want is beyond that. What you want is the ah to the truth of being. And that's what we're trying to do. Those of us who are entering that path or on the path or finding spaces within it that really open our hearts and open our minds and open our ability to embrace the universe, do that. And then, as I say, week after week after week, shine the light on everyone else. The light isn't of intelligence. So I was saying, well, you really need to understand the First Amendment if you want to understand what the world is. I mean, you can say that if you want. But the reality is, what you really want is to know how to love, embrace, and acknowledge the truth of each human existence. That's what we're here to do, to acknowledge it as deeply and as completely as we can, to bring it in and to then bring it with light into the world wherever we are and shine that and help others find their way. We can walk around angry and hostile and feeling like we're being betrayed, but there's always intellectuals feel betrayed and the ignorant feel betrayed. There's one way or the other. It's the same process. Let it go. Let it go. Find your way into the transcendent love of being itself, of waking up, of seeing the clouds in the sky, of seeing the trees, of seeing people around you that you care about and love, and give them that love. Give them the acknowledgement, the appreciation, the sense of that they are there and that there is this bond of connection that happens in human beings, that happens in fish, it happens in birds, it happens in animals. Things love each other. They care about each other. Not always in the very ignorant space. There's a battle zone. They want to kill each other. They want theirs and not the others. And that's ignorance in life. But it plays itself out in the canvas of human experience, and we're all part of that. I'm telling you, you can get engaged in the intelligent and the ignorant and get caught up in the drama, or you can go transcendent. Transcendence is not escape, it's not running away, it's not hiding from, it's not pretending it's not there. It's the totality. You will have compassion for the totality of all human beings around you. That's what's happening if you have a life of spiritual uplift, of rising up, of connecting to something greater. You don't come back and condemn half of the world. You come back and go, aha, you get it. And it may not be nice to you, it may not be kind to you, it may be destructive and very damaging. But if you have really found some place inside yourself of, aha, you will open to the totality. You will just open to the totality of being and you will acknowledge it. You won't judge it. You won't say, well, I wish it was this and I wish it was that, or you might. I mean, look, we're human beings, unfortunately or fortunately. We have happiness and sadness and drama and all those things happening in our lives, but the transcendent allows us to see them in perspective, and the non transcendent has no perspective, just caught, caught. This is a moment in your life to let go of being caught. The drama around you is going to be very, very intense. And it's either going to be a reminder to let go or a key to get caught in it. If you get caught in it, we will sit here every week and try to say, unlock that door, try to get out. You don't have to be there. You don't have to be caught. No judgment. We're human. Getting caught is human. The world is hard. The world is difficult in many, many ways, but the transcendent is beyond understanding, beyond expectation, and its core truth is love. It's just love. And I cannot tell you, except from my own experience, how deep that love goes. And it's profound. And it doesn't end. And it doesn't even have a beginning, as far as I can tell. It's just there. So reach for the core, reach for the love, stop being angry at the world and being angry at what's unfolding in front of you. Try to go, you can respond to it with intelligence. You can do what your mind tells you to do to, vote on the right side of the equation, but that's not going to be the same for everybody. But to try to put your voice out there, if that's what you think is necessary, I'm not going to say that's not important, but I will tell you, don't do anything without checking in with your greater self. Your greater self will tell you what to do. And it's your great guide. Every one of you who's hearing this talk knows that there's an access to that place. Know that there's a place you can go, and that maybe now is the most important time ever to go there, to get that directive, to get that help, to get that holding hand, to let you know that you can actually be of service during a time of growing, let's call it darkness or transformation. We need each other, guys. We just need each other. We have to be here. We have to show up with our deepest humanity and with our deepest and most profound spiritual awakening. Bring it to the table. Show up for each other. Show up for the people closest to you. Show up for the people down the block and in the supermarket and everywhere else. Try to be that which the world needs and wants, and which you, in fact, already are. That's the goal. That's the goal. That's the journey we're on. This is a very tricky time. We all know that. I'm just saying, don't let it get to you in the sense that it locks you up and keeps you in the realm of intelligence or ignorance. Let it break you free into the realm of knowing. That's what we're looking for. That's the ride we're on. And I wish you all the best with that. And I'll try to show up every week to carry this forward, because that's what I'm told to do by those forces that are talking to you now. And we'll keep it going. So hopefully week by week, it will be of help, and we will all be together in this ride of shining light in the darkness of the world. The end. Um, Again, comments, criticisms, fears,
Hey, Bruce,
yes.
Bruce, hey, Mark, Bruce,
All right.
hey, um, very powerful talk, really, because when you break it up between intelligence and ignorance, what I've been seeing, being in Silicon Valley, it's all around us, this hyper intelligence, this drive to be intelligent, Matter of fact, Zuckerberg's trying to create super intelligent computers, right? So we're a drive, as you said, it's a linear drive of intelligence, more and more and more and more. And it's driven by people who have the same way of seeing reality, right? It's like a linear reality of moreness, of intelligence. But wrapped really into that is the highest level I haven't seen here, probably ever, of ignorance by these very people who call themselves intelligent. And I find that to be rather scary a little bit because of that problem. And, and with AI being developed by people like that, I've been working in the AI space recently, and I see that intelligence, linear intelligence in the AI space, and it's becoming dominant and also in the way of allowing us to go, like you said, go up deeper into reality. So I just wanted to thank you for bringing this out because it's a very, very powerful discussion and one that I think that is needs to be opened up even more.
I am 100% behind everything you just said. Um, and I do think exactly that AI is being created by intelligence, and it's going to be more intelligent, and the intelligence will have great dominance over part of our lives, and the ignorance is going to fight that, and it's going to be a battle zone on many, many levels and very complicated. And the only doorway to transcendence and freedom is get quiet, go deep, go up. And if people can do that, they will they will help others during this. But we're going to be a very small part of something that's going to be very big on planet Earth, and it's going to be very dominant for a good part of our lives and my children's and grandchildren's lives. And it's very hard. And if you play with it intelligently and you start to think about it a lot, it gets really difficult and problematic. And I do know the only thing that releases me from my quote unquote fear of all of that is that this is coming out of something much bigger. It's much greater. And if you can connect with that, even though you can't understand it, and you can't in the end ultimately understand the ultimate sort of wisdom of the universe, if you can just trust it and go on this journey and be the source of hand holding and help that people will need during this time, that's a big gift. But it's going to be beyond anything any of us can intellectually understand. It's going to be so big and so beyond the things we have prepared for in our schooling and in our college educations and everything else. It's really big what's going on. And, we're, we don't have a lot of place to go in order to sort of fight it. And in fact, things are unfolding so fast that even people with very high intellect, very great intelligence, don't know what to do right now. They have no idea. It's happening too quick. There's no plan for it. So we're watching it really dissolve into a kind of a very strange aggregate of disinformation and discomfort and suffering. And it's going to go on. So I don't want to propel us into that space. I would like to say you can get caught in that, and it's not wrong. It's not impossible to get caught in it. It's going to happen with most people. But if you take a moment and you just take a breath, you can go beyond and you can find a place of solitude, quietude, wholeness, and comfort and love and beauty and joy in the midst of all of it. And you can share it with the people you're sitting next to, who
Yeah,
are
you say about intelligence and knowing, and that is the ultimate place. I agree with you. The knowingness transcends the intelligence by such a factor, but it's very difficult since we don't push knowing, we push intelligence in
our culture
society.
has very little awareness of knowing. And
Yeah.
cultures that do have it are still struggling. You know, you look at even Buddhist cultures and Hindu cultures and Muslim cultures, cultures that's, I mean, other cultures that have, I mean, many of our sort of spiritual religious cultures right now are in very difficult spaces. And a lot of that comes out of ignorance, if you will, and the fact that even the pursuit of the higher, deeper awareness is locked into a kind of a high school level understanding of things. It's not enough. It's not enough. So what does one do? I, I'm moving beyond the state of doing. I'm moving into this strange awareness of being, which is show up. You allow. And I'll throw out a very strange thing that happened to me this week, but I think it's really an important, interesting idea. Nityananda is Rudy's teacher, and a great saint who sat and people came and worshipped him, and he was in a loincloth, and they bathed him, and they fed him, and they took care of him, and he just spread, you know, wisdom, if you will, into the world. So I tried to understand as I was driving into town last week, what if Nityananda had to go to CVS to get a prescription in the car? You know, what would that look like? What if he had to go shopping and take care of his wife or whatever? What would it look like if instead of sitting in that space and having people bowing down and having him just radiate all day long, what does it look like? I think for Westerners, that's an important question. If you can figure out what that would be for you to be someone who could be and not just do, or maybe just be, and still go shopping. That's a really important idea in my mind. And if you can begin to take that on individually and sort of figure out for yourself, where is the Nityananda figure in your life, in you? And don't make it necessarily out there in the past tense or in some other country. Find it in you. How would you be that person? And that's a really interesting thing. And I don't know that you can cognate it. So maybe stop thinking about it right now. But if you can be that at some point, or if we could all become that, this would be an amazing world. And in a sense, I would venture to say, forgive me because this is a big step up there, we are already that. We are that. It's about recognition, waking up to who you are. Yes, Nityananda can drive to CVS and get a COVID shot, which Blanche and I did this week, along with our flu shots. You can do all that and still be that figure. You don't have to sit in a temple and have people kissing your feet and bathing you. You don't have to do that. It's fine. No criticism of it. I think he was an amazing figure, and as I've said, I'm crawling into the infancy of whatever that is about. But I will tell you, I can see from where I am that it's a great world to grow up in. So learn to be. Anybody else? Okay. Oh, Wendy.
Bruce, Bruce,
Oh, hold on. Okay. Wendy, hold on. Will?
um, I just wanted to say that I too very moved by your this talk today. And one thing that it reminds me of is back when I was 19 and 20 and 21 and joined this group, if you will, the practice a long time ago at a young age. And I found myself, I think I've told you this before, in the ashram and in the group at that time, feeling, being sometimes being made to feel out of place because of this issue of intelligence, of growing up and, having an education and so on, and that it was placed understandably in opposition to knowing and to meditating. Do you know? I think you can probably remember when you would sometimes be told you're thinking too much or something like that. Um, and I guess what I learned over time, which might lend something to this, the way you're sort of mapping this out, is that it's all part of living in this world, and particularly as a Westerner. You can't, if you are growing up and you have some intelligence and you do well in school, or let's say you become a computer programmer, this is what you need to do to just survive. And it's also maybe part of your identity. Maybe it's part of your history. Do you know what I mean? And but it's not the whole picture, is what I think you're saying. And this is why, as you say, you meet people who don't have any particular education and they're glowing with love and existence. And there you are with them, let's say in a line or something like that, and you're talking to them, and it's just the most beautiful moment you can experience. So I guess the way I have come to look at it is a little bit like an onion, where there's all these layers to existence, and in a sense, the way I describe sitting and meditating, but also our awareness, I suppose, of however limited it is of knowing, is that you just always know that there's another layer to this onion, and that's what gets you out of the inner layers. But we need to function within those layers, those inner layers, or intelligence, or career, or whatever, to survive. Um, I'm sorry to go through that, but
I you
that's
completely.
what it makes me think of. Yeah.
I agree with you. I remember you when you were 19. And I love you sitting here still at this point in time, still dialoguing and still being part of this equation, because that's what it takes. It's time, it's life's work, you know. It's effort over time, as Rudy would say. So thank you for that. Wendy,
Bruce, I just want to thank you for this talk. I mean, I thank you for all the talks, but it really spoke to me because in meditation today, I got this clear insight, I guess, about because I think questioning like flow, like working with this meditation, like it's really about flow. And this simple answer depicting what flow is, because I always hear the word flow without, oh, just flow, just flow. But that flow is love came through and recognizing what constricts or if I'm as I'm being more in touch with my inner sense of what's happening inside or where there's flow or not, I could be very acutely aware that flow gets constricted over and over and over throughout the day. And so to feel love on such a consistent level was this kind of understanding that came in. And I'm like, well, how the heck am I going to actually be this? Like Nityananda, like how, like it just, and everything you said, one sentence after the other, just like chocolate cascading down, really began to answer that question for me. And on the opposite side of will, I had as a child dyslexia. I was in kind of rough neighborhoods and rough schools. I was like, why do I need to know about that? I was just like, like throwing everything off to the side and just realizing that as you were speaking, like what I really wanted to know was love and the embrace of love and being loved in the right way and being loved correctly. And that was my real desire. And to sit here 50 years later or 45 years later than those thoughts as a whatever elementary school kid, um, I can say I'm tasting or connecting to on some levels here and there know that love and embrace like sitting in a class like this. So I just thank you.
you're welcome. Um, I mean, everything you're saying is again mirroring what I've been trying to say, which is we all come from levels of intelligence or ignorance at some point, maybe interweaving in many different ways in our lives. And what we all want is to be loved. And love is a doorway. It really is. But it's not a doorway to passion. It's not just a doorway to making kids in the world. It's a doorway, once you start to rise up into the truth of love, it's a doorway to transcendence and freedom and total reality. And love is how it enters in the world. Love is what we feel in the world. It can get trapped in the world. It can also be the doorway out of the world. So we have to find our way. And everyone who's sitting here knows that. So thank you for all knowing it. I assume we're at the end of this because it's going on a long time. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being consistent in your reaching for this, and I just pray for you and all of us that we all find our path to the very thing we're searching for, and it comes through and filters into our lives and then the lives of everybody around us, because that's one of the great reasons that we're here. So thank you.